Hey everybody, just want to go through and give a quick rundown on all the modifications that I've done to my Conqueror 440. This is just to give some tips, and some hints on to stuff that you can do to your own camper. This is not going to be for everybody. I do a lot of solo camping by myself, so some of the modifications that I've done have really limited the camper in some ways, but they've made it extremely useful for what I do. So yeah, let's get into it. So one of the first ones that I've done is, this can be done for the 440, the 490, all the other ones, is the Rhino hitch. So with this thing right here, I have full adjustment with my vehicle and the trailer, so I can leave it fully hooked up and still be able to raise and lower the tongue height. So with this one, it is a 7-inch up and down, or 7-inch drop hitch. So I got 14 inches of total travel up and down with a 10,000 pound tow rating. So basically I can go wherever I want to go, set up camp, never have to disconnect the trailer if I'm just doing an overnight, really quick, want to go out type deal. And yeah, that makes it extremely useful. So that's the Rhino hitch, is like one of the first ones that I've done. The next one, which this goes for both the 490, the 440s, all of them, is your cables that you get for the solar panels. They usually come just in the two bare wires right here. So what I did is I went on Amazon and get a braided wire cover, and I ran this through the whole section. So it's you want to get a 50 foot for the 1/2 inch, and then a 20 or 50 foot for the 1/4 inch, or I'm sorry, 25 foot for the 1/2 inch, and then a 50 foot for the 1/4 inch. So then you got the two that come out up to the solar panels. That way everything is all nice and tied up. You don't have to worry about the wires getting fully tangled. It's extremely easy to roll up and all that good stuff. Makes it way easier than just having those wires just hanging separately. And one of the next things that I've done is I have done, full solar panel power on this camper. So if you notice right here, propane completely gone. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I wanted this trailer to be fully self-sufficient, to where I don't have to go worry about my gas running out, anything like that. This is just 100% fully self-sufficient, where I can just hook it up and go, and I will have full power off of everything. So with the two on the ground, those are the two 100 watt panels. So that's 200 watts right there. And I just climb up on top of the trailer right here. Sorry. And then I got 3 200 watt panels. So a total of 800 watts of solar that I have on top of the 440. And with this solar panels, these are from Bouge RV, the 200 watt bifacial panels, and they fit perfectly on the roof of this camper. I mean, just set it up, all 3 of them, just perfect. And one of the other things that I've done is the WeBoost Overland series cell phone signal. A lot of people don't like it, but if you know the limitations of it, it works extremely well. And I'll get more into that once we get into one of the other things inside the camper here. Let's climb back down. Oh, all right. So one thing I do got to say is I'm taking this all in one video. I have no video editing experience, so I'm trying to do this all at once. So if it's stuttery, I'm completely sorry about that. So one of the other things that I've done is I went and picked up this Hossier swamp cooler. So this thing was about $100 at Home Depot, and it works perfect in the desert Southwest. So if it's like a little warm or whatnot, you need to cool down the puppies. That's my Mia. She's 14 years old. She got to have her little cooler. It works awesome. All right, and then we got our Amshaft. Holy cow, this is under brain fart. All right, so here we have our Amshaft induction cooktop that goes along with the solar panels to make this thing 100%, gas free and all that stuff like that. It works excellent when you have cast iron cooktop or cast iron cookware. So I got my little pan there, and then of course I got my big pot and all that stuff like that underneath inside there. And I just went to IKEA to finish out the cooking center and got this little cutting board. Now this was done on a couple other people, got the idea from them. I just didn't want to have my whole fold out section where it was just a cooktop. I still wanted the sink. So I went with half cutting board, half sink. So this section works out perfect because you can chop your vegetables, put them on your stove or whatever you're cooking, and you're all just right there for what you need to rinse, chop, put them on the stove. Then of course we got our cooktop right there. Now on the inside, for where the pantry is, of course this one is going to be one of the first mods, paper towel holder. You got to get the paper towel holder. It is such a good thing to put right there. And there's enough room to where you still have, mind the dirtiness, and it ended up having some salt and pepper spill all over the place in there. So sorry about that. But you have your whole section right here. Down here, I have my power on and off for my inverter. It's a 3000 watt Bouge RV inverter. And this panel right here is powered off of the inverter. And I wanted it to where I can turn the inverter on, have my power on. So whenever I have, or whenever I upgrade to a, let's say, air fryer or air toaster or anything like that, I can put it right here and I have power from my inverter when I need to use just my solar panels. And then when I don't want to use my solar panels, I can unplug it from the solar system and plug it in right there, and I have shore power. So I can use a microwave, so right here I have my little omelet maker for sandwiches where I can use omelet maker sandwich. Basically that's what it is. You got your English muffin, sausage, egg, English muffin, cheese, stuff like that. This whole thing cooks it, and I can run off of both inverter power or shore power. And then one of the other things that I've done, which is the most major thing that I've done for the 440, is I have removed the spare tire carrier. The main reason why I did that is because I loved the shower, how it was able to come out and fold out, and you had your shower right here. That was extremely nice. The main problem that I had with that is when I used the shower, water would pool up right next to where you walked in and out of the camper. And that would leave a whole mess inside my camper, and I just could not stand that anymore. So I ended up just completely taking out that whole thing. So with my camper, I do some off-roading, but not a extreme off-roading. So I don't need this spare tire. I have a patch kit that is with the thing, being that they come with compressors. So I have a patch kit. If I do get a nail or something like that, I can repair it on the road. So that I'm not worried about with not having an extra tire or anything like that. So with that not being there, with the shower and all that stuff like that, the next thing that I did is I actually ended up taking the locking system. All right, so So if you haven't followed before, I ended up taking the bed out that slides forward for the, queen, king slash thing or whatnot, where it slides forwards, and just made a single bed right here. So with that, I ended up taking the locking stuff out of the little holes that are right here and right here, and moving them to right here and right here. And what that does is it gives me a full way to lock this system up and make it fully secure without having an extra key or anything like that. It's still the exact same key that came with the camper. So that is one of the other modifications that I've done. So with the shower being gone, I ended up moving the shower and all that stuff over to where I have this guy right here. And of course, this is another thing that you can buy off of Amazon, extremely cheap, but it keeps the water away from the entryway of the camper. And you have the off and on switch. It's right here, hot water, all that stuff right there. It comes in, you got your full floor, which is also another thing off of Amazon. Toilet, also off of Amazon. You got your nice big shower head, all that stuff like that. It still works the same. Granted, it's an extra thing that you need to put in the camper. It's not built in. Definitely not as high quality, but for the usability and not getting the mud inside the camper that you'd get with the shower being right there, depending on how the terrain is, this works way better for me. And so if you're wondering how this whole thing works on the inside, basically the hoses for the rear shower that are originally on there, these were the two inlets. These were the ones that actually go back to it. So I just spliced them in and then ran the hose right out to right here. So it's extremely easy to do. So yeah, and also with my little puppies, if I'm out hiking, doing whatever I want to do, of course she is a black lab, and she has already been outside and she is pretty dirty already. So it makes it really easy to have a shower thing that you can just unlock, rinse the dogs off, rinse your shoes off. Makes it so much easier just being able to have a little thing right there instead of having to fold out the entire spare tire carrier. So with going into this thing right here, into this area, we have right here is where I mounted my 3000 watt Bouge RV inverter. Is a pure sine wave inverter. And then down underneath is where I have 300 amp hour lithium ion batteries. So originally the AC heat pump was in this section. I did not like it. So I took it out camping up in Willow Springs, which is right south of Vegas, next to Lake Havasu, all this stuff like that. It did not work. We were hooked up to shore power. We had the front bed. This is before I put in or took out the front slide, and I had the second bed out, turn the AC on, and it would not keep this thing cool anything above 85 degrees, just because all the canvas that we have in our roofs, they attract heat and they radiate so much heat. It was just pointless to have AC inside the 440. The walls are not insulated, so anytime this thing is out in the sun, it just gets hot, especially in the Southwest, where we reach temperatures upwards of 115, 116 degrees. The AC just does not work. So anyways, the AC is just basically useless inside one of these things. So I ended up taking that thing out, which leaves me a nice spot to have plenty of storage. I have to grab that back out again. So I have my table, all this stuff like that. The AC mounted on top of this thing. So it did give me enough room actually to have the 3 batteries with the original AC mount on there, which is really nice. Didn't have to custom make anything like that. Actually, I take that back. I did have to do a little bit of custom work for this. So with this one, if you just have the batteries in here, they will work perfect. But since I ended up putting my 3000 watt inverter right here, I did have to add in this little extension 90-degree channel so I can move the platform back just a little bit so the inverter would fit right in there. So one of the other reasons why I put the inverter, the batteries and all this stuff like that in this open spot right here was so if I do let's say RV camping or whatnot where I have power hookups, this hookup right here is still hooked up into the camper 120 hookups. So if I don't want to run the inverter or the water heater, which is this guy right here, don't need it because it's like 110 in Phoenix right now. So I don't need the water heater. But if I wanted to run them off of inverter power, I can just plug them in to the inverter and I have power to both my cooktop and the inverter. And then if I want to go to, say, a campground, I can unplug them and then plug them into the shore power right here, and I still have all that power without running my solar panels, batteries, anything like that. So my induction cooktop, water heater, like I showed you before on the other side where I have those 2 plugins in the pantry area, everything can be switched over extremely easy to go from solar panel to shore power, which makes it extremely versatile. And that's one of the reasons why I did this setup the way I did it, is because it makes it to where I can easily go from shore or boondocking to lot camping where they have shore power and all this stuff like that extremely easy without going through the extra expense of having to put in an extremely expensive inverter, crossover, whatever thing like that that these things don't come with for lithium batteries and all that stuff like that. So, see, we got that one. See the next one, the WeBoost right there that we have up there. That thing is ran into the camper, into this little guy right here. So if you haven't ever seen a WeBoost or heard of WeBoost, or you think they don't work, they do work extremely well if you know how to use them or exactly what they're used for. So when you want to set up, let me restart here. If you go into the mindset that a WeBoost system will give you cell service anywhere that you want, that is not going to happen. The WeBoost system is made for if you have 1 bar on your cell phone, it will amplify that signal for 1 bar and you will get extremely good service or better service than what you would if you had just the 1 bar. If you have no bars on your cell phone, it will not work. That is one of the biggest misconceptions on these cell phone boosters, that people think they buy the top of the line $400, $500, $600 systems and they don't work, and they say, well, it didn't give me any better. It's because they didn't understand how the system actually works. So where I'm camping at right here, I'm just south of Williams, Arizona, middle of the woods, absolutely nothing around me. I have one cell phone or bar or whatnot in this area for T-Mobile LTE 1 bar. So with that, with the WeBoost system, I can actually get 2 bars of 5G UCE, which is, or not UCE, but UC, which is the ultra connectivity thing that T-Mobile has. And it boosts my signal from 1 bar of LTE with a speed of like 1.2 megabytes for a speed rating up to like 110 megabytes speed. So it does work in certain areas. Now, this may be just a, what you want to call it, a isolated thing for where I am, just because T-Mobile in Arizona, they do have extremely good coverage in Arizona. So it could just be that where I am, that extra boost gives it from a 1 megabyte connection to a 100 megabyte connection. It's just my own thing of where I'm at. So I'm not going to say, you're going to get from 1 to 100 megabyte connection no matter where you are. That's not going to happen. This is just where I'm at. It makes a huge difference. And this is one of the campsites that I always go to. I love this campsite. I can go from 115, 116 degree weather down in Phoenix, come up to Williams, Arizona, and it drops it down to a high of 85, 90. It is so nice just to come up here for the weekend, enjoy the nice cool weather, and still have cell phone service to where you can stream videos, stream YouTube, do all that nice stuff like that. So that's the WeBoost system. Then of course you got your pantry. You got to have your essentials. Got to have the honey jack. So one of the other things that I have done is the eco-worthy Hull sensor for the batteries, or Hull monitor for the batteries. I am not a fan of this. Unfortunately, this thing does not work well at all. So this thing says it has 14% battery, which I know I have way more than that, because you can see right here, I have 14.2 volts and 300 amp hours worth of battery. So I know this 14% is not right. This whole system, I don't know if it's my fault that the way that I set it up is not accurate, but I'm just not a fan of this. So this will be one of the things that I do change out in the near future here. I'm actually thinking about going with the what is it called? It's called the Psy Marine. I think it's the Vitri or something like that. And that is a extremely small, like, little panel where you would have your whole battery monitoring system. So I could really get rid of, this whole setup, which I know with the Conquerors, they have lots of issues of not working, charging batteries, all this stuff like that. And they are extremely bright. That is why you see I have a little cloth over here with magnets that's held up on just to keep the lights, because at night they are just so bright inside of this thing when you're trying to sleep. I got to find something else that will fix that whole issue, and then give me a nice battery monitoring system that will take my 300 lithium power batteries and make it all just work great. So one of the other things that I've done since I'm at the back of this camper here is this little guy right here, which is a camera. It's a little dusty. Sorry, I traveled down a dirt road. Everything's all dusty. Solar powered backup camera. And what this thing does is, when I'm driving, say, down the road, and I'm not sure I can make a pass on a car or anything like that, I can hit a little button on a screen inside the car, and it will pop up and it will show basically like, your whole reverse lines, where you have like the 2 feet, the 4 feet, the 6 feet lines on the little display, so you know that you have enough room when you're towing the camper to where you can merge or not. Or say where I am here, where there's a whole bunch of trees, you can judge when backing up the camper where you need to stop. Just like here, I have the back of the camper and I have a little fire pit that I can't use, you know, fire restrictions and all that stuff like that in Arizona. But it gives me the distance to where I need to stop so I don't hit it. And if you wondering what the screen looks like in here, sorry, got a whole bunch of stuff inside the car here. It'd be just like this little screen right here. Shows everything. I don't have it hooked up, unfortunately, but it's just a USB plug-in. This guy right here that plugs in is fully Wi-Fi, so there's no wires that I need to hook up from the camper to the car. Just plugs right in. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't have it hooked up just because it's nice to have. You know, I only use it when I really need to. I've been to this campsite so many times, I didn't really need to use it because I know how to pull in, back up, everything like that. I know where everything is. But if you're going to someplace new, that works extremely well. If you're trying to back up, do anything like that. I think that might actually, oh, sorry, let's come back to this. So if any of you have the Chinese built 440s, 490s, anything like that, I will not stress enough, the one thing you need to do is check your breakaway switch. This guy right here. My original one that I had, I thought it was good, ready to go, everything like that. I didn't like the little cable that came with it. It was just like a really long cable that hung down. It would literally like hang all the way down here. I'd have to try to tie it up. It just did not work. I went to, with this guy, just a little elastic, or not elastic thing, but circle thing just to keep it up out of the way, makes it nice and tight. Tried pulling this guy out of the factory breakaway switch, and it ended up snapping right here. So if I would have had any type of accident where this thing came disconnected, the trailer brake switch would have failed. So please, this is a major safety thing. Test this. Make sure that yours works. All you have to do is just grab this guy right here and just give it a little tug. If it comes out extremely easy, that is, or not extremely easy, but with a little bit of pressure, that is the way it is supposed to go. If it does not come out and you're sitting there wrenching on the thing to where it breaks, replace it. Please replace it. That is a major safety thing that I don't know what happened with the Chinese build ones, but check that thing. It will save you a huge, huge headache if you have any trailer issues. Oh, one of the other things that I did forget since I'm up here, the water heater. Oh, let me fix this guy right here. So, the water heater that comes factory with these things is a standalone gas-operated water heater. It worked decently. The thing that I did not like about the water heater is it took forever to heat up. So the way that I mean, like, it took forever. So your water heater is up here. On-demand propane. So when you wanted to use it, you had to have the wire or the hose ran from the front all the way to the back. So when you took your shower, you would turn on the hot water. It would take about maybe like 10, 15 seconds of your water running, which is a waste of water, before it would actually heat up. And then once it did heat up, it would either be A, scalding hot, or B, lukewarm, and trying to adjust your little, your levels would be good if you had a constant flow. But being that the water tanks in here are not that big, I personally did not like that. Because when I would try to, take a shower, it would be like, okay, let's turn the hot water on, let it run for about a half a minute, 30 seconds, which you waste a lot of water in 30 seconds. And then it would finally warm up. And then of course, once you get warmed up, like, cool, you take my shower, hose off or, shampoo up, use a soap, clean everything up. And then you go back to it again. And of course, that water already cooled down from the time it went from the back of the trailer to the front of the trailer. And it would just be another like 30 seconds of the water being cold again, which was a whole lot of waste of water. And it was also extremely temperamental because even if you did have the water, let's say, turned on to where you put a little rubber band or whatnot around the little handle, it wouldn't be consistent heat. So you would go from like extremely hot right away, and then it would drop down to like a lukewarm, and then the thing would kick on again, and then it would be extremely hot, and then it would drop down to, lukewarm, and it would just cycle up and down. That was one of the things that I just did not like about having the whole shower system and everything all in the back of the camper. When you have it all the way up in the front, I have literally 2.5 feet to go from the water heater to the shower. And so with the water heater, it is right here. It is the Baselong. I have no idea how to pronounce that. But anyways, this guy was only $100. It is a 2.5 gallon water heater. And it keeps a constant water temperature. So when I'm trying to take a shower right here, I can adjust everything to where I need it towards, just warm enough, not scalding hot, just warm enough for me to take a nice, comfortable shower to where I can turn off and on the shower head right here. Since I have a shower head that will turn everything off and on, a click of a button right there, can set it to where I need it, and it stays that temperature because it's such a short run from the shower to the water heater, and it is a continuous thing. So with me being a single person, going out solo camping, it just works perfect for me. Now, if you have a bigger family, I don't know if this would be ideal for you because you're using more water, especially in like the 440 or anything like that. It may not work as well. I just want to put that out there. But since it's just me usually solo camping, this works perfect. And it also works perfect with my solar setup that I have up on top. So I literally never have to buy propane or anything. This is all basically free energy with the solar panels that I have up on top, 600 watts up on top. And then the 200 watts that I would have down on the floor, a total of 800 watts. Everything will stay fully topped up. Now, if you live in a northern state or anything like that, you may have different results. I live in Arizona, there's, never a cloud in the sky. It is always sunny here. So for me, this works out just perfectly. So, then I forgot. We got this little window right here put in just for some ventilation and everything like that. Just because I just wanted a window. With the 440, you have the top, but if you have the awnings out, you can't see anything below. I just wanted a little window right next to where my bed was, where my head thing is, so I could look out and see everything. And of course, you know, it's, you know, still tall enough to where I can look over the bathroom. You know, that's not going to be an issue. And one of the other things that I have is my diesel heater. Since I took away the AC heat pump that was in that guy right there, I ended up putting in a diesel heater. We got the can right here. Of course, it runs for the fuel line up across these little channels that go up and down and around underneath, everything like that. And it comes in where you have the diesel heater right in here. So I have the 5,000 watt or BTU or whatever they do that thing in the 5,001, and it heats up this 440 like a madman. Do not get the 8,000. You will burn yourself out of house and home. With the 5,000 BTU or whatever one that this one was, cheap one, it was like the, was it $100 one off of Amazon or whatnot, Bluetooth capacity. It will heat this thing, being that I have just a single bed up there. Now, it will heat the same no matter what if I have the secondary bed open or closed. It will still heat this thing like no tomorrow. So I highly, highly recommend the diesel heater. Definitely want to get that guy. So for solar panels that I have up top, I have the Bosch RV 40 amp solar controller that is mounted right here. So for the 440, when we have our little black panel where these screws are, this thing fits perfectly where you can mount it on the top of here, the top of the back one, and then this bottom one down here. These bolts right here and right here, they match up perfectly. So you can mount this thing extremely well, and it leaves just a little bit of gap to where you can run all your wires underneath right here. So where this thing was is the factory Renogy controller that was right inside that square. I just took it off. I still have that controller. Instead of it being up here, I ended up mounting it underneath this guy. I don't know if you can see it right there. You can see the little Renogy controller thing, but this is where the battery sits. It's basically mounted on the frame right up behind the battery. All right, so that was that one. See, then we covered the WeBoost, which is right here. I still need to figure out a place to mount the WeBoost because I'm still fully testing it. Now, as far as the connectivity goes, it is awesome. If you have, you know, like I said, one bar service, go with the WeBoost. It is awesome. But still need to figure out a place to fully mount that guy, because I'm going to be having a my Mac Mini somewhere inside the camper, so I can, you know, stream the movies off of that. I'm also going to have my T-Mobile home internet somewhere inside of this guy to where I can mount the WeBoost up to that thing, mount the antenna right next to my home internet set up to where I can have Wi-Fi calling, all that stuff like that outside the camper. Because as of right now, with the WeBoost, I need to have the little cable that is right here to the antenna for the WeBoost, this guy, and I still have to have it right next to the phone for it to work. So I want to be able to put this right next to my T-Mobile internet or Wi-Fi router or whatnot, and then have that guy right next to it so I have full service, you know, all the way around my campsite. So if you have any questions that you've seen that I did not cover. If you've seen something that you want more information on, please, write a comment, let me know below. And yeah, so this is just my walk around that I wanted to do with my 440. And hopefully it gives you guys some ideas, some inspiration on what you need to do and all that stuff like that, or what you want to do if you want to go with a full solar setup on your 440. So, all right, you guys have a good night.